Hello, good afternoon to all. So in the morning, we have seen about the different components in the VCRS cycle, and also we have seen how to draw the pH chart and what are the conditions of refrigerant at different points, how to find out the cooling load or refrigerating effect, how to find out the work done, and how to find out the amount of heat rejected. Okay, so now in this lecture we are trying. So these are the how to find out the enthalpies of vapor at different point. What is the sensible heat, what is latent heat, what is dryness fraction, how to find out the entropy of the superheated steam, so that we have seen. Now, yes, all of you note down a few things. If it is a online examination is concerned, so all the data is given to you, so you have not to worry. But if you are appearing for any examinations like GATE and all these things, or any PUC examinations, so for that examinations, you should have a thorough understanding. So for this purpose, we are going to consider the full length problem. But from the exam point of view, only a small bit of that will be asked. Okay. So now in this lecture, we are going to concentrate on the types of vapor compression cycles. Okay. So on the screen, you have 5 vapor compression cycles. So first one is the vapor compression cycle with a dry saturated vapor after compression. Vapor compression cycle with dry saturated vapor after compression. Okay, cycle with dry saturated vapor after compression. So meaning of this is before compression the vapor is wet, and after compression it is going to become a dry and saturated. So why this is happening? Because during a compression some heat is added, and because of that, that wet vapor is going to convert into dry vapor. Okay. So this particular, you can say, case, we are not going in detail because practically it is not used. Second case, the cycle with wet vapor after compression. Just I will draw the pH diagram, then you will get the clear picture of this. So here in the first case, the at point 1, this is the point 1, the vapor is wet, okay, and then after compression it becomes dry, so it lies on the this dry saturation line. Okay, so then we have this pH diagram. So before compression it is wet, and after compression it is going to become a dry. This is the first case. Now second case is a cycle with wet vapor after compression. So means what? After compression also the vapor is in the wet region. Suppose this is the saturation curve. So first point it is in the wet region. Second point after compression also it is in the wet region. And then we have cooling, condenser, expansion, and this cycle is completed. So this cycle is also not practically used. This one is also not practically used. Now the third cycle, the cycle with superheated vapor after compression. The cycle with superheated vapor after compression. Okay. So now in this case, we are going in detail of the rest 3 of the cycles. Cycle with superheated vapor after compression, cycle with superheated vapor before compression, and cycle with undercooling or subcooling of refrigerant. So the first two cases we are not going to study because practically these are not used. Practically these are not used. So we are going to concentrate on the third, fourth, and fifth case. We are going to concentrate on third, fourth, and fifth case. Okay. Now in the third case, the cycle with superheated vapor after compression. Means after compression it is becoming superheated. So before compression we are considering it as a dry, and after compression it is become superheated. In fourth case, the cycle with superheated vapor before compression. This vapor is superheated before compression, and after compression again it will go in the superheated region. In the last case, the cycle with undercooling or subcooling. It is related with the cooling process, undercooling or subcooling after the condensation. So these two cases are related with the compression, and this case is related with the cooling. So we are going in detail analysis of these 3 cases. We are limiting our case. Just wait. I think connection is went wrong. Just wait on 2 minutes. I'm joining once again. Okay, so we are going to concentrate on the last three cycles: the cycle with superheated vapor, cycle with superheated vapor after compression, cycle with superheated vapor before compression, and cycle with undercooling and subcooling of refrigerant. Okay, so we are going in detail about these three cycles. Okay, now the main objective behind this study of vapor compression cycle is to find out, ultimate aim is to find out COP, find out the refracting effect, find out the cooling load coming on the condenser, amount of heat required to reset by the condenser, so that we have to find out. Okay, so first we are going to analyze the cycle on PV diagram, on TS diagram. Then we will see the each and every process, the analysis of each and every process. Then we have to go for the finding out the COP. So we'll start with the first cycle, the vapor compression cycle with superheated vapor after compression, or it is also called as a dry saturated cycle. It is also called as a dry saturated cycle. Okay. So first we'll see how it is represented on the PV and TS diagram, and then we'll go for the analysis. So first we'll go to the PV diagram. So on PV diagram, if you see, the point 1 is the entry of the compressor. It is lying on the dry saturation curve. So here the refrigerant is dry and saturated. The refrigerant is dry and saturated at point 1. So at point 1, the refrigerant is dry and saturated at the inlet of compressor. Now 1 to 2 is compression. So at point 2, the vapor becomes superheated. Vapor becomes superheated. Because during the compression, we have piston and cylinder arrangement. Some heat is the refrigerant because of the friction between piston and cylinder. That is the first reason. And second reason, between the churning motion and between the different molecules, the heat may be added. So because of that, the temperature of the refrigerant is going to increase. So at point 1, the vapor is in dry saturated condition. At 2, it becomes superheated condition. Okay. Okay. So same process if you observe on the TS diagram, dry saturation curve, and 2 it will goes to the superheated region. So this is about a compression. Now we'll go to the condensation process. Just give me 2 minutes. Hello. अरे नितिन. Okay. Sorry, there. Any doubt is there? Please ask me because the understand is very important one. So now we'll go to the second device, that is a condenser. Second device, that is condenser. It will start from point two. From point two. Now the vapor is in the superheated region. It is in superheated region. So first we have to reset the degree of superheat. So if you observe 2 to 2 dash on both TS and PA diagram is the rejection of heat. Is the rejection of heat in the condenser. Okay. So if you observe the pH diagram 2 to 2 dash is the straight line because it is a constant pressure process. But if you observe on the TS diagram 2 to 2 dash, the temperature is decreasing because superheated vapor means it is a single phase mixture, and in single phase mixture, when we add the heat or reject the heat, the temperature is going on decreasing. So 2 to 2 dash is called as a rejection of heat and to the cooling medium and converting the superheated vapor into the dry saturated vapor. So at point 2 we have superheated vapor, so it rejects the heat to the cooling medium, and at point 2 dash it becomes dry and saturated vapor. Again it is in the vapor form. Okay. Now how to find out amount of heat rejected to the cooling medium? So it can be find out Q is equal to Cp of the superheated steam into T2 minus T2 dash. This is the amount of heat rejected by the superheated steam to the cooling medium to convert into dry saturated vapor. So 2 dash lies on the saturation curve. So I will move ahead. Now we'll concentrate on the 2 dash to 3. 2 dash to 3. Now if you observe on pH diagram, the pressure is constant. Pressure is constant. So at constant pressure, this process is going to take place. At point 2 dash, the working medium is in the vapor condition. It is in the dry and saturated vapor. Dry and saturated vapor. It is going to reject the heat to the cooling medium, and then that vapor is going to convert into liquid. Vapor is going to start to convert into liquid. So if you observe here, two-phase mixture is there. Two-phase mixture is there. Liquid plus vapor. So here, if suppose if this point is there, so we have maximum amount of, we can say vapor, and we can have a maximum amount of vapor and less part of liquid. If we are moving towards point 3, so at point 3, all this vapor is going to convert into liquid. So 2 dash to 3, the amount of heat rejected, it is called as a latent heat. So here we are rejecting the superheat, and here we are rejecting the latent heat, which is HFG, that is rejected. And then this refrigerant is converted into liquid form. So the total heat rejected by the vapor, it is H, suppose if you denote. So it is degree of superheat, Cp into T2 minus T2 dash plus latent heat HFG plus latent heat HFG. So this is at condenser pressure PC. So we can find out the total heat rejected to the cooling medium.
सर स्क्रीन दिसत नाहीये.
हो परत ते लॉग आउट झालं काय. ओके ठीक आहे. तर 2 to 3, 2 to 2 dash, 2 dash to 3. Is it clear to you? Yes, Shreyas, Mallari, Akshay, Shubham. Yes, is it clear? Which type of heat?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now we are going for the next process. Next process, that is 3 to 4. Now, which is 3 to 4 process? Which is 3 to 4 process? It is happening in the expansion wall. A small capillary tube is there. It is happening in the expansion device.
सर तुम्ही स्क्रीन शेअर केली का?
स्क्रीन नाही दिसत आहे सर.
नाही एकच
स्क्रीन नाही दिसत आहे सर.
एकच मिनिट लॉग इन होतोय. एकच मिनिट दे मला. अरे नेट सारखं कॉलेजचं कट होतं. ठीक आहे आता दिसते ना. एकच मिनिट. Okay. Now, which is process 3 to 4? Yes. तुम्ही 3 to 4 समजा pH वर ऑब्झर्व केली. So it is having a vertical line. Why? Because it is a isenthalpic process. Enthalpy remains constant. HF3 is equal to HF4. Pressure is decreasing from P2 to P1. Okay, HF3 is equal to HF4. If you observe on PS diagram, it is having a curved line. If it is straight line like this, then if 3 to 4 is straight line on HS diagram, then yes, which process we can say? During which process entropy remains constant? Hello, can you name that process? It is a
compression
process. नहीं कॉम्प्रेशन नहीं. 3 to 4 एक्सपांशन है. समझा एंट्रोपी
प्रोसेस.
यस. So it is an isentropic process if entropy remains constant. So 3 to 4 is the isenthalpic process. There is no work is done. No heat is rejected. And at point 4 now, which device starts? Your evaporator is going to start. So here the refrigerant at low pressure, if you observe T1, at low pressure T1, low pressure P1, it will start to absorb the heat from your vegetables and it will start to convert into vapor. So liquid is going to convert into vapor. Okay. Now if you observe the state of point 4, it is not fully liquid. It is having some dryness fraction. If it is liquid, it will be at this point. Now since it is under the saturation curve, it is having some dryness fraction, that is X4. So in some cases, we need to find out this dryness fraction. Okay. So I'm going to repeat it once again because once this cycle is clear to you, so further cycle it becomes very easy. So first we'll talk about, yes, any doubt before that? Any doubt? I think, okay, we'll start from process 1 to 2. Okay. So 1 to 2 is isentropic compression. Okay. So yes, Shreyas, just tell me what is the work supplied to a compressor during process 1 to 2 in terms of enthalpies? Okay, so
EMR into H2 minus H1.
Yes, good. So if you observe, compression process 1 to 2, it is highlighted by this red color ellipse. The work is done and which is given by H2 minus H1 means enthalpy change across the compressor. H2 minus H1. आता हे H2 कसं काढायचं आणि H1 कसं काढायचं? Okay. Now H2 is the enthalpy of the superheated vapor and H1 is the enthalpy of the dry saturated vapor. Okay. So first, how to find out H1? H1 is the enthalpy of dry saturated vapor. Dry saturated vapor. So directly at a temperature of, you can say at a temperature of T1, at temperature T1, the property table is given. And from the property table, directly you have to find out Hg. That is the enthalpy of the dry vapor. Okay, at T1, you have to find out Hg. Suppose this is minus 10 degrees centigrade, T1, and T2 is 30 degrees centigrade. So at minus 10, you have to refer Hg. Okay. Now how to get the enthalpy at point 2? At point, the condition of refrigerant is superheated. Superheated. So now enthalpy of superheated steam, not steam vapor, it can be find out using formula. First, the heat of vapor, that is Hg, plus the enthalpy of superheated steam, that can be not steam vapor, that can be find out by using formula Cp of vapor into T2 minus T2 dash. T2 minus T2 dash. So from this we can find out the enthalpy at point 2. And if you take the difference of these two, we'll get the compressor work. So just once again I'm repeating. So compressor work is equal to H2 minus H1. That is the change of entropy, change of enthalpy across the compressor. Now H1 is equal to directly the enthalpy of the dry saturated vapor, that is Hg, at a temperature of T1. Directly you will get from the property table. Enthalpy of vapor at point H2 is equal to at temperature T2, because at point 2 the temperature is T2, pressure is P2. At temperature T2, that is 30 degrees centigrade, it is Hg plus Cp into T2 minus T2 dash, or Hg plus Cp into T soup minus T sat. What is T soup? Superheated temperature. What is T sat? Saturation temperature. So from this we can find out the compressor work. So I know from your side whether the things are clear to you or not. Any doubt? Lot of thermodynamics is involved, so you have to recollect the things of second year thermodynamics. Okay. Now we'll go to the next part. So here it is mentioned that the condensed to dry saturated steam 2 to 2 dash, condense at constant temperature from 2 dash to 3. So two types of heat we have to reject. One is the latent heat and superheat. Okay. Okay. Now we have to find out what is the amount of heat rejected in the condenser. So you concentrate on this formula. Mr is the mass of refrigerant into change in enthalpy across the refrigerant. So what is the change in enthalpy across the refrigerant? H2 minus H3. So already we have find out H2 in the previous case. Now we will think how to find out H3. Now H3 is the enthalpy of liquid. I will write it as a HF3 at condenser pressure T2. At condenser pressure T2. It is given here T2. So at condenser pressure, the property table is given. At T2, you have to refer HF3, that is the enthalpy of liquid. And then you have to take the difference between H2 minus H3, and we can find out the amount.
सर आवाज येत नाही.
Yes. So sometimes since I am in college, so I'm sitting in my cabin. So you can see. So there is some network problem is there in the college. So there may be chances of getting out of connection. Okay. So ठीक है. Okay. So if it is in, if you multiply it by m dot of r, directly we will get in the heat rejected in kilowatt. So kilojoule per kg multiply by mass of refrigerant kg per second. So kg get cancel. So it is kilojoule per second. So it is kilowatt. Okay. So by this way we can find out the amount of heat rejected in the condenser to the cooling medium. Okay. And one more point is here. So I want to clarify here. Sometimes this T2 dash is not given. Most of the times T2 dash is not given. It is not known. T2 we are knowing, but we require this T2 dash also. So that can be find out by using this formula. S2 is equal to, S2 is the entropy of the superheated vapor, is equal to S2 dash, this entropy of the dry saturated vapor at this point, plus Cp into ln of T2 by T2 dash. By using this formula, we can find out T2 dash. Using this formula, we can find out T2 dash, or it is S2 dash plus Cp into ln of T soup by T sat. T soup by T sat. Okay. So this is about the condenser. Yes, any doubt? First, note down the heat rejected by condenser is H2 minus H3. H2 is the enthalpy of the superheated steam. Already we have find out in previous case compressor. H3 is the enthalpy of the liquid. We have to find out from property table at temperature T2. In some of the cases, this T2 dash is not known to us. To find out this T2 dash, we have to find out using this formula of entropy. That is S2 is equal to S2 dash plus Cp into ln of H2 upon H2 dash. So here S2 dash is the entropy of the dry vapor. Entropy of dry vapor. Okay. This is at temperature T2 dash. And S2 is the entropy of the superheated vapor. So whatever may be the unknown, T2 or T2 dash, we can find out from this equation. We can find out from this equation. Okay. So this is the condensation process 2 to 3. Now we'll go to the expansion process 3 to 4. Okay, it is highlighted by this red color wall. So liquid refrigerant at high pressure P2 is equal to P3 and temperature T2 is equal to T3 is expanded by throttling process, through an expansion valve to a low pressure. This low pressure, it is expanded from high pressure to low pressure. P1 is equal to P4 and T1 is equal to T4. During throttling, no heat is absorbed, no heat is rejected, and there is no work done. There is no work done. Work done is 0. Heat supplied or rejected is 0. Okay. Okay. So we'll go to next case. Now last process is the evaporation process. In the evaporation process, that is 4 to 1, the heat is absorbed by the refrigerant and we are getting the cooling effect, or we are getting the refracting effect RE. So that RE is equal to change in enthalpy across this evaporator, and the change in enthalpy across the evaporator is H1 minus H4 or H1 minus HF4. HF4 at 0.4, the working medium is in the, you can say, liquid condition. Okay, so the refracting effect is equal to H1 minus H4, or we can write H1 minus HF3. What is HF3? HF3 is a sensible heat at a temperature T3, that is the enthalpy of the liquid refrigerant leaving the condenser. And if we multiply by this mass of refrigerant, we will get the answer in kilowatt. Okay, so this is the refracting capacity we can find out. Okay, now if you have to convert it to ton of refrigeration, if you want to convert into 1 TR, so we have to divide this value by 210. So we'll get the answer in ton of refrigeration. Okay, so this is a cycle, and the last part of this theoretical, or you can thermodynamic analysis of the cycle is we have to find out the COP, and COP is equal to RE upon the work done, or compressor work. Okay, now here it is, if you observe, superheating increases the refracting effect. Superheating is going to increase the refracting effect. Because if it is wet, so your point will be here. So this is the compression. So by superheating, this much amount of increment in the refracting effect you are getting, but at the same time, the compressor has to do more work because of the refrigerant is dry. Here it is wet. If it is become dry, the compressor has to do the more work. So compressor work is going to increase. So if you observe, this arrow goes in the upward direction. Compressor work is also increasing, as well as we are getting a higher refracting effect also. But overall, if you observe, there is no change in the COP is observed. Net effect of superheating, it may be a decrease in COP because in case of a superheating, the compressor work is going to increase. So that may not be compensated by the increase in the refracting effect. Suppose 5% we are getting the increment in the RE, then there may be 10% increment in the work done will be there. So overall effect is to decrease the COP. But the main benefit of this this cycle is that there is no wet vapor admitting inside the compressor. So that will avoid the corrosion of the compressor parts, and it is increasing the life of compressor. That is the advantage. So the COP is equal to refracting effect upon work done, that is equal to H1 minus H4 divided by H2 minus H1, or that is equal to H1 minus HF3 divided by H2 minus H1. So yes. Just a minute, I will just check out. Okay. So what is the effect of superheating? Effect of superheating of VCR is, okay. So that we'll see afterwards. Effect of superheating is that it is going to increase the compressor life at the this is about the VCC with a dry saturation cycle. It is also called as a dry saturated vapor compression cycle, or cycle with a superheated vapor after compression. Yes, you can draw these figures, write down the formulas, then only we are unable to solve the problems based on that. In the online examination, there are only small problems are there, and these are from the Kurmi Gupta book, so don't worry about that. but for other examinations, you should know these things. Yes, go through the cycle, go through the formula. If you have any doubt, please ask me. This is the first slide. Second slide, compressor work, H2 minus H1. Think how to find out H2, how to find out H1. Next slide, condensation process. In two stages, we are rejecting the heat. First, superheat is rejected, and then latent heat is rejected. Amount of heat rejected is H2 minus H3. If you multiply by m dot, we'll get the answer in kilowatt. Next, expansion process. No work is done, no heat is absorbed or rejected. Evaporation process. We are getting the refracting effect. Sometimes it is called as a cooling effect, which is denoted by letter RE. RE stands for refracting effect. It is H1 minus H4 or H1 minus HF4. Read the slide once again. I think connection is lost. So condensing process, amount of heat rejected is MR into H2 minus H3. In expansion process, no work is done, no heat is absorbed or rejected. Refracting effect is denoted by RE, which is H1 minus H4. Amount of refracting effect is m dot R into H1 minus H4. So why these problems are important one? Because for a 2-mark question, so you may be given the change in enthalpy across the evaporator, mass flow rate may be given, you have to find out the refracting effect. So that type of 2-mark question may be asked as a, you can say, easy questions. Or some capacity of the refracting system is given, based on that you have to find out the mass flow rate. And lastly, the COP of the cycle is H1 minus H4 divided by H2 minus H1 or H1 minus HF3 divided by H2 minus H1. Yes, anybody is having any doubt in the analysis? So So I think we'll stop here and we'll see a few numericals based on that in the next lecture. So till time, if there are any doubts are there or difficulties are there, so we'll discuss here. I'm going to send you all the PPTs, especially tomorrow I'm going to send you. So you will register your attendance using a Google form. Yes. Till time, if any doubt is there, so we'll discuss. Yes, anybody is having any doubt?
सर मगाशी माझी सर अटेंडन्स मार्क करायची राहिली मागच्या लेक्चरची.
Okay, so marks राहिली.
हो.
Okay, so this is the link for previous lecture. This is the link for previous lecture. ठीक है.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll stop here. Thanks a lot. We'll meet in the tomorrow. We'll meet. Okay, we'll solve few problems. Thank you.